The notice of this meeting, the Upper Township Committee, was posted on the official Township bulletin board and the Upper Township website, emailed to the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel-Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded. Up until the closed session portion of this meeting will be available on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made a part of the minutes of this meeting. Would you please rise for the flag salute?
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Mrs. Hayes? Here. Mr. Knappen? Present. Mr. Pankos?
Here.
Mayor Newman?
Here.
All members are present.
Pleasure on the minutes.
Move we adopt the regular closed session minutes for July 22nd, 2024.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Board of Governing Body members, we'll start out with Deputy Mayor Hayes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And just to remind everyone, our Fall Fest will be October 6th, which is a Sunday, and also Eagle Pride Week, just FYI. Vendor applications are now available. For anyone who's interested, you can reach out to our recreation leader, Larry Cole, lcole@uppertownship.com. We have food truck vendor spaces are $100 for a 20 by 15 space, and event vendors are $30 for a 15 by 10 foot space. All veteran businesses are free, as are nonprofits.
Thank you. Nick?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out as always. My family and I really enjoyed the Touch a Truck event, so everybody that came out to that, thank you so much. Great pictures, great day for the township. And the courts and animal control are running smoothly, so I don't really have much to report on that front. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mark Pankos.
Thanks. Everything's going pretty good on the beach patrol side. We do have a little bit of erosion problems starting again. Public Works made buckets with flag holders in them, which we submerged at low tide the other evening as the one jetty did start to reappear. I think it's a winter, right? Jetty? Yeah. Yeah, so they were installed the other night. I think it was winter, but the jetty is appearing again, and we do have some parking, I think.
Didn't we get those jetties removed?
We haven't had some of the ones again.
That's right. Okay.
Jetty is rock.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Other than that, everything's kind of quiet.
Same, as Vic touched on, the Touch a Truck event was a huge success. I really want to thank everybody that came out to it. It was everybody that was supposed to show up did. We even had some people step up, and it was really neat to see even like Tom Sherby. Like we were talking about Coach Tim in football, and he's out there with his stock car, and I think all the kids love that stuff. It was a really cool event, and the real highlight of the event was the child that had Dylan, the person we were having the fundraiser for, showed up at the end of it, and it was pretty neat, and it was very, very actually touching to see him walk. I mean, he was walking with assistance. He's got a long road to hoe, but it was really a good event, and it was good for our first responders to see the result of their efforts, including the same paramedics and flight nurses and the pilots and everything on the helicopter for him that day. So a lot of times they don't get to see the results until months and months, years later, and this they got to see. This kid not only was he living, but he was also gaining strength and getting better as the day went on. And just the support of the whole community was absolutely phenomenal. So that is about all I have for tonight, too. I'm sure I'll remember something on the way down, and we'll interrupt everybody, and we'll do that. But for now, we'll keep on going with Gary.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple different things. First, I'm going to need a couple motions. One for my CMFO for some continuing CEUs, as well as Mr. Johnson, our deputy tax assessor, for some continuing CEUs. Both be going to conferences. Barbara has it in September. Right?
Yes. Let's say September 1st to in October. Early bird is going to cost $550 for registration.
And then I have Michelle Johnson, who's going 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. That's out of state. We're not picking up the cost of the conference, just the days that she'll be out of the office there. So that is one motion that I need.
I'd like to make that formal motion to approve this.
I'll second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes? Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The continuing saga of our affordable housing and renewal reports are coming up. The date for the filing of this particular report is September 16th. Triad is our financial technical advisor on this. They're asking for $2,200 to do the report. That report includes the stuff on share, all those different things that are in the required report, the housing units, the amount of units, the rehab.
It's the projects and programs that the township is involved with the affordable housing program.
So it is a short timeline. I'm asking for a motion this evening, but we'll do a resolution at a subsequent meeting.
I'll make that motion. Move on.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes? Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
There's some annual fees. The reinstatement fee was more than what was currently owed. She had some family issues relative to maintaining the family. She's asking for the waiver. She had paid the $12 in the dump fee, and she's asking for a waiver of the $100 reinstatement fee. So she actually was over by $12, and it cost her $100 to get it reinstated. She had some family issues, and she's just asking for a courtesy, a one-time courtesy to waive that.
I'll make that in form of motion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Corson? Mrs. Hayes? Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Last one, I think, Kurt, you've been, did Chief Hanley speak to you about the boat?
Yes.
Okay, so there's been, I just don't want Joanne was kind enough to kind of go through the ordinance. There was some conflicting language relative to what we can do, what we can't do on the township property. I want to make sure that you are comfortable with that. The gentleman is not responsible for any vandalism. He does have one of the lifeguard, one of the Van Dyne lifeboats.
It's a gentleman, Walt Van Dyne, this is his new boat. He wants to leave it on Regency Point Beach, so they can actually use it, people can test it. If people know all rights, but it also provides us an opportunity if we need a second boat down.
So I think you misspoke there, Gary, just to correct you. The township will not be responsible for any vandalism.
Correct.
I think the city gentleman will not.
He's willing to sign a waiver and he's willing to do whatever, but it's like Curtis said, it is that type of boat. It's not a unique boat.
We already have one there. It can't hurt to have another one.
Correct. So I'll just need a motion to allow that.
I would just suggest that it be subject to signing an indemnification and hold harmless.
Yes. Would that motion, make that a motion?
All right.
It's good for that, too.
The last thing, the small thing that, I'm sorry, I was rolling.
Mr. Corson. Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, Gary.
The last thing we had with Barbara and I had an $8 million bond sale. It went extremely well. As the markets tank, the investors look for more stable markets to invest their money. One of those stable markets are municipal bonds. So we do have a very good rating. Thank you, Pankos. So that between our good rating, the market, and what we had to offer in the municipality, we were able to secure a very nice rate with the premium for them to take that particular bond. So we took TANs, right, bands, and we make it permanent financing. So the numbers doesn't change.
This is permanent financing.
So the amounts that we're paying in bonding doesn't change, but now it's long-term bonding with a premium, and then that premium will be subject to the auditor and how
The premium has to be used, it's stipulated to be used towards the interest payment. So, but our interest rate was 2.84 and change, which is a very good rate for 10 years.
Is that all you have?
That's the 2 week book.
Thank you, sir. Joanne,
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Monzo,
I don't have anything, Mayor.
or still take a picture out of this bond, yeah. You good? Now, here we come, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only a couple items tonight. Great news with the paving program. Everything's been running very smooth. All the mill and overlays have been completed for all 18 roads. The final scope of work just includes some minor roadway striping to close out the project. A couple other traffic detours along county and state roads. First one will be Mount Pleasant Tuckahoe Road. The county is proceeding with a mill and reconstruction of the roadway. Work is anticipated to start within the next couple weeks and will be completed in December of 2024 this year. Project limits are from Dennisville, Petersburg Road up to the railroad crossing near Reading Avenue. There will be some traffic detours. Northbound traffic will be maintained, but southbound traffic will be detoured, and two-way traffic will resume at the end of each workday. Another minor project along Route 9, it's 1220 Route 9, near the intersection of Harry's Court. This week they'll be completing some concrete curbing and driveway apron installations, and the project will just have some lane shifts along Route 9, so something to be aware of. That's all I had for tonight.
Well, I got a couple things for you. First of all, we get a lot of questions, and I know all of us up here do in one way, shape, form, or another. People want to know what's going in those tubes that they're installing on Route 9. I've heard that it was fiber optics. I have no idea if that's the case or not. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's completely correct. It's fiber optic cable installation up and down Route 9, so that's what you're seeing there.
Also, we had some drainage issues that were brought to, I think, the crew's attention or the engineer's attention that's working with the Department of Transportation. Maybe you could follow up on those if you feel like that warrants.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think one of them was in the already completed project area along North Shore Road in the area of Randolph Boulevard at the curve there. They're very aware of that. There's also some drainage issues that hopefully that they will repair when they're doing the south side of that project with regard to right there's a property at Route 9 at Sea Sounds Avenue, as well as property right near where Curtis used to have Heritage Links. I hate to bring that up, but that's been only been 10 or 15 years, right, since you had it. But that's also in the 1300 block of South Shore Road as well. I think there's a couple others there that they just really need to take a look at and do the drainage correctly. I also have sent a couple emails to you, and I've seen you send a couple emails as well to the county requesting that we look at, I think I went through Gary as well, repairing Tuckahoe Road between Morris Hill or Greenbrier and Church Road. It's just terrific. The amount of truck traffic that's going through town right now is unbelievable. And it really has nothing to do with the township because they're carrying asphalt from the Woodbine plant here to some projects elsewhere. You can't stop them from going on the roads, but we certainly can get the county to do some repairs out there that they've been severely lacking.
Yep. Completely agree. I know the county engineer has indicated their public works are evaluating if that's something the public works from the county can handle, or
That's
if they
what
have to
Curtis
sub-
Corson would call it, okey doke. So, am I correct, Curtis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll obviously be following up with the county engineer as well as DOT on those drainage issues.
And while you're at it, while you're on the county engineer thing, and this is what I knew I'd come up with something. We had a power outage on Roosevelt Boulevard. Well, the power outage was stemmed from something that happened on Evergreen. There was power was out in Moore, Paramount, a couple of different spots for several hours. I think it was Saturday afternoon and evening. One of the things that occurred when the power went out was the traffic light on Roosevelt Boulevard at the intersection with the southbound exit, southbound entrance went from working to flashing. Okay. In the winter, it might work that way, but in the summer it works not. What I'm concerned about, it's not necessarily that it happened, because stuff happens. It is the response from the county was terrible. They didn't fix it till the next day. And that is unacceptable. I know it was reported on multiple occasions to our dispatch center, who has documented all the reportings to county dispatch center, county OEM, and somebody showed up, they show up till the next day, which is Sunday, while the traffic was trying to get out of town. And they came up, they fixed it, and it immediately went back into flashing again, and it took them another hour or two to get back up there again. So that needs to be addressed. And I do have all the documentations with our dispatch center, so if we need to know times and the like, we can get that. Okay. Say that's unacceptable response for the busiest county road in the county is Roosevelt Boulevard. They all have a truck on the street.
Completely agree. I'll follow up on all those items.
I would appreciate it, and just let me know how you make out.
Will do.
Good luck with it.
Thank you.
I do have one more thing before we close down, Engineer. Thank you to Jonesy and Reeves. As the water subsides, as we get drier and drier, we're able to identify areas of the Strathmere on that Bayview that were problematic. One that we identified recently was Vincent. Vincent had a bad tide valve. The crew went down into the pits. They pulled the old one that was deficient and crusty and malfunctioning. They put a new tide valve in that area now. So we continue to march on to identify those problematic areas, and I think what we're going to do is find the pits next and start to suck those things dry. So thank you very much.
Okay. Now we'll open it up to the public. Anybody with public that wants to address the township committee, you may do so by stepping forward to the microphone and stating your name and city that you live in or town that you live in for the record, and let us know what you want to know. What you want us to know. Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Step up. Yeah, just give us your name and address.
My name's Brandon McCrane, and I was looking for an update on the stop signs on Sleepy Hollow Road. I put a request in roughly a year ago, and they put up stop signs at the wrong intersection, at the wrong corners of the intersection, and I was wondering if there was going to be an update on that.
I think we communicated quite frequently with via email. That was late last week. Today is Monday. There was a mistake relative to the placement. That has been transmitted to Public Works, and we are correcting it. Again, we couldn't put those stop signs up until the ordinance became effective. That became effective last meeting or so. So my joke is the speed of government, right? And so we do apologize relative to making it legit, but there's no need to put an improper or illegal stop sign in an intersection that can only become problematic. So it looks like you're going to get the freeway, one going off into the development. The dead end will not have one, since it's only one house going up the hill there, and then the two stop signs will be on Sleepy Hollow itself.
So 2 on Sleepy Hollow.
Correct.
Beautiful. All right.
Thank you, Brandon.
Ask you, you shall receive.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Anybody else from the public? Okay. Hearing none, I'll close the public portion, and we will move on to Joanne Lovely Voice.
Consent agenda. All consent agenda items listed below are routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. If the mayor or any committee member wishes a particular agenda item to be considered separately, it will be removed from the consent agenda and acted on separately.
Move we adopt the consent agenda, items number 1 through 22.
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson? Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Mappin?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos? Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Under resolution to be acted on separately, urging the state of New Jersey to take an incremental and targeted approach to adopting the proposed Protecting Glenn's Climate Threat, Resilient Environments, and Landscape Rules.
I think, Gary, you could probably explain it the best while this is off of here and on to this.
I do not have that email in front of me. So we adopted one in February that was similar. This one is particularly different. Do you have that email by any chance? Let me see. Hold on a second.
This is the EP changes, right?
Yeah, the one with the coastal,
And the county that's going to go into adopting.
yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Is it trickling out from the county commissioners?
The assistant administrator reached out and asked us to do this because from the laws Murphy's on about floodplain elevation and all that, and it's really going to affect any construction in Cape May County.
Yeah, my understanding is I think the only municipality in Cape May County not affected is Woodland at this point. It's all about changes in elevation, right? You probably have some more.
To add to that, DEP is considering changing the flood elevations by 5 to 6 feet in tidal flood hazard areas. So changing our flood elevations would result in a larger portion of the township being now located in a flood hazard area, which then would require flood insurance, higher elevations, additional fill, additional compliance based on these DEP regulations.
Affects Tuscarawas River, Shooters Pond Creek area, all the
There's multiple roadways that would be below flood elevation, so raising the infrastructure would be a high cost. So raising all these elevations would have a massive ripple effect to development in the township.
Correct. Just looking at those, it looks like this time 15 out of the 16 municipalities are supporting the resolution, and it's exactly what you had mentioned. So this is just a collaborative supported resolution.
Motion to approve item number 23.
second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Mappin?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos? Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, we have the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 13, 2024, and ordinance amending Chapter 8, Animal Control of the Code of Upper Township. We could have the public hearing on September 9th.
Mr. Alonso.
This ordinance is just adding a section to the animal control chapter of the Upper Township Code to allow the state police to enforce the animal control ordinances through the issuance of it says a notice of violation, but it's probably a summons. This will get referred to the court for input before adoption. The one thing you may want to look at as well, there's a minimum fine section in this chapter that has a minimum fine of $50 for a first offense, $75 for a second, $150 for a third, which is kind of on the low end. The general enforcement section, penalty section, allows you to establish minimum fines of at least $100, so you may want to look at that as well.
I would say we do that. Can we do that without the...
Yeah.
Can we still introduce?
Yes.
And then change?
Yeah.
And can we also put something, a caveat in there, which we've done that in the past on some of our ordinances, that the fees or fines or penalties can be adjusted by resolution? That way we don't have to be over the ordinance if we want to adjust the fees.
Okay.
And this ordinance also allows not just the state police, but doesn't limit anybody to sign that particular ordinance.
Anyone that saw
Right?
if they saw the offense.
If they saw the event.
Well, if they anybody that has the authority to issue a summons can sign a summons. A complaint can be issued by anybody, but if it's not witnessed by somebody that has the ability to issue a summons, it has to go to a probable cause hearing.
Correct.
In court.
Basically, this allows our code enforcement, if they wanted to enforce
And anyone that wants to come off the street, and it'll be treated just like, so you can sign a complaint for harassment, you can sign a complaint for disorderly person, but you can't sign a complaint if you're witness your neighbor's dog or your lawn. So, so this brings it into the same realm of the flexibility of such as Dennis Township has some of the same language that allows just a person coming off the street.
Yeah, when a private citizen signs a citizen complaint, it goes to the court administrator, who has to either make a finding of probable cause or have a probable cause hearing. When a licensed officer, such as state police or code enforcement, signs a summons, it doesn't need you don't have to have a probable cause hearing. It goes right to a hearing on the violation.
Okay, would someone like to introduce that?
I move we introduce ordinance number 13 of 2024 with public hearing and final adoption on,
September 9th.
September 9th.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Under new business, we have multi-jurisdictional program for public information 2024 update.
Yeah, we did the first half in June, and this will be the second half of the information. So on SharePoint was the 14-page overview of the MJPPI, which everyone's going to be quizzed on later this afternoon. But if you want to give the highlights,
Yeah, so this was, as Gary mentioned, previously discussed in a June meeting, but essentially the township participates in the Atlantic Cape Multi-Jurisdictional Program for Public Information, MJPPI. So there was a report that was issued that updated, essentially outlining the members of this organization Really, we had two meetings for this committee. One was in June 6th of this year, where we discussed the goals, objectives, outcomes, and priority audiences and outreach topics for flood insurance and floodplain management. So some of those goals and objectives is to ensure that those affected by flooding are aware of risks, coordinate municipal efforts to increase flood awareness, also maximize our participation in the National Flood Insurance Program and CRS to provide flood insurance premium discounts to policyholders. That's a big one of our participation. And it's really just discussing priority outreach topics to residents, which includes knowing your flood hazard area, insure your property if you're in a flood hazard area, protect people from the hazard, and build responsibly in a flood hazard area. Again, I won't go through the whole 14-page report.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would review it, but I'm not going to do that here tonight.
So what action do we need to take?
So it just had to be discussed at a committee meeting and circulated to the committee, and then this organization will submit this to really NFIP, CRS, just again to continue and give us additional credits for our residents and flood insurance.
Okay. Thank you very much. Your pleasure on the bills.
Hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated in full in the minutes of this meeting.
Your second? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Committee Pankos.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Number 1, personnel. Number 2, contract negotiation, Act Engineers. Number 3, contract negotiation, CME Associates Environmental Consulting Services. Number 4, contract negotiation, MUA Host Community Benefit Agreement. Number 5, contract negotiation, Shared Services Agreement for Municipal Court Services. Number 6, potential litigation, Prescott Avenue. Number 7, litigation, tax appeals. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. A, it is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. B, with respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken, or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. C, with respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. D, with respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes? Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mr. Pankos?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
So we will take a very, very short break since you clear a room and we'll